she comes. Just a second. You were unmuted. Oh, you're muted. You're unmuted. There you are. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Yes, you too.
So if I'm going to make you the host here real quick.
Okay.
And you should be able to, at the bottom, you should see a little arrow that says share screen.
Yes.
You'll click that and whatever is on your desktop, whatever you have open, will be open. And we'll see what you see.
Perfect. All right.
Nice. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. We got about 2 minutes till we get going. We are
Perfect.
live right now.
Okay.
Everything good on your end?
Yes, everything's good so far.
Good. All right. Well, we'll start off with a little intro.
Okay.
And talk about, I'm going to let you do your thing, but also do some Q&A and stuff with you. I got a couple of notes and some things that I want to learn from you as well when we get done. So
perfect.
We'll go right into it from there. Sound good?
Perfect. Yes, I have maybe about 6 to 8 slides, I think. So shouldn't be too overly long. A couple of videos and things, but.
Very good. Very good. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'm excited to.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Have the opportunity to pick your brain and learn from you a bit. And
absolutely.
I love your stuff that you put up. Your creativity on your social media is really great. And I saw your video from, was that last night, talking about kind of helping people do that?
Oh, so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. Hopefully you'll mention that at the end if people, those of you that are on live with us already, her social media stuff's fantastic. It's really engaging. So definitely check her out if you're not following her.
Yes, I have all sorts of contact information at the end.
Nice. All right. And then you launched, I'm sure you'll talk about this as well too, but you launched a online business, correct?
I did. Well, it's online at the moment because we haven't moved yet. So what was that?
You're in your holding pattern until you move?
Kind of, as far as, because eventually it's going to be like in-person treatment sessions and things.
Nice.
But for right now, I am strictly online just because of everything going on. So yes, I'm primarily online until we move, but my goal is to primarily stay online.
Good. You reach a lot of people.
To expand my reach. Yeah. So that's the goal. So.
And right now you're on the East Coast, is that right? You guys are moving to Colorado?
Correct.
Or okay.
We're moving to Utah, yeah.
Utah, that's right.
Yes.
Utah. Very good.
Yeah. So hopefully in the next month or so, but definitely have been doing a lot of in-person kind of before all this happened. And then the goal is to do a lot of group classes and things, kind of like how you're running your gym right now.
Nice. So you have a good storefront and everything picked out yet, or is that still?
So I won't be brick and mortar. I will either be renting out a space or doing some logistics, maybe outside for the summer, something like that. And probably won't go brick and mortar right away. It's going to be a mobile in-person sessions for right now. And then eventually maybe moving to that point. Depending on where the interest of my, depending on where the interest of my target audience is and everything like that.
Gotcha. Well, that's all exciting. I'm also looking forward to getting your book. So
yes. I'm going to hopefully be sending that out today.
Like, she got to post it on her social media. I got my books. I'm like, one of those better have my name on it.
And I had just written all the ones that I promised.
Making you give me one. All right, everybody, let's get rolling. So good morning, welcome, and thank you all for being here with us. We have a very special guest for you today, multi-talented. She's got all kinds of stuff between her content and what she teaches online, but also in her social media presence. I think she's pretty good at putting this stuff together. So Alyssa Kuhn, I'm saying your last name right, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us some time. Alyssa's got some prepared materials for us that she's going to go through. And then I've got a bunch of stuff that I want to kind of pick her brain if she doesn't answer those at the end. And then any of you that are joining us too, feel free to shoot some messages up there for us. And any comments, anything that comes up. Now you will see them on your side too. So if you see stuff popping up, just keep going. We'll do all the Q&A at the end, and
Okay.
and we'll get ready to roll from there. So if you want to start off by giving us a little intro, a little background about you for those that may be on that haven't met you before, seen you before, and tell us about what your future plans are a little bit.
Yes. So today I'm just going to be talking about just 5 in-home training components of things that you can start incorporating, especially if you're used to being in the gym and now we're in home and you want to start incorporating a little bit more of that. So for the introduction, my name's Alyssa. So I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I have been doing home care for a few years, so I have quite a bit of experience of in-home training. I just founded Move Well, Age Well, Physical Therapy and Performance, primarily on and with an online presence at the moment. Lots of YouTube videos. The goal is to expand my reach as much as I can to help all aging adults keep their strength, build new strength, and keep independence. So I am also CrossFit Level 1 certified, so I actually use quite a bit of their principles and things in a lot of my training, a lot of my programming, and things like that. Now, I understand CrossFit's not for everyone, but the functional fitness, I do think, carries a really heavy weight, especially with increasing age. I also have quite an extensive experience with fitness and group exercise, with group exercise teaching all through college and after college, and then personal training, all that stuff. So I kind of have dipped my feet a little bit into a little bit of everything in the fitness realm, but have been doing physical therapy for the past couple of years.
The functionality of CrossFit, I feel like, is very applicable to our daily life and our function. My programming was heavily influenced by CrossFit, and though a lot of like the purest strength coaches and such, they poo-poo it. It's actually, I mean, it's got some very good formats and pieces. Just like any other bit of our programming, we're stealing little bits and pieces that we like, and we, just like you said, So I think it's great. We never did any named workouts or timed workouts or any of that stuff until I got introduced into the CrossFit world a bit. So yeah, I don't have any issues with that. I think it's a great influence.
Exactly. It brings new ideas for programming. Like you were saying, it brings new movements. So I definitely believe that it can be scaled to everyone. And obviously we're not doing like heavy snatches, but there's tons of things we can do. So yes, absolutely.
I just saw that on one of your posts too. Sorry to keep interrupting you, but
No, that's okay.
you've got your outside barbell gym going now. So I saw you doing some deadlifts and
yes,
your Olympic lifts going. So
I'm trying. We have to, just one of our friends has one. So we do it like a weekly thing. Cause other than that, I have one kettlebell for a home workout. So
go.
it's been quite the challenge, but
Right.
learning a lot too. So, okay. So now I'm going to just go through the top 5 things. These are kind of just 5 tips or 5 things that you can start incorporating, maybe if you haven't thought about them already. So the first one is get creative. So if most of us are used to treating in the gym or treating in a clinic or treating where you have a little bit more equipment available, obviously in the home that might not be available, whether you might only have a few pieces of equipment. So we have to kind of get creative, and especially with home care, there are a lot of things that you can use just around people's homes, especially to create weights and things like that. So I mean, people might have dumbbells. You can fill shoe boxes with objects, soup cans. You can use milk jugs. So over here is just kind of a list of things. There's also some things that you can get that you might not have thought about, even just like cheap on Amazon, or like those sliding discs. You can use those. So there's all sorts of things over here that can kind of get your inspirations flowing. I did put a quick video together, about a minute, of just some exercises that I've done with some of my older patients. So this is one you can obviously use with heavier weights, but just something to incorporate power. Just these pillow squats. Now, if people have difficulty getting all the way to the ground, you can raise it up. These are boxes of tissues. So if you can find a way to increase that. I use these fast sit to stands a lot for power. Have them stand up as fast as they can and then sit down as slow as you can. Makes it a little bit harder. This one is just a weighted ball. Stand up, sit down, and then toss it as well.
I like that.
Kind of like a wall ball-ish, but this ball I think is like only 6 pounds. And then here's just a quick, I mean, this is a sped up version, but of just those sliding discs. You can add sequences, you can add different directions.
Yeah, Amazon and all the delivery stuff right now is actually kind of starting to pick up. So people are getting things a little quicker, as they need. So you definitely can order some little pieces, little things here and there to kind of help out, and you get them relatively quick.
Yes, and I think it does depend too on, the company and stuff. So some people are moving a little bit quicker than others. But soup cans, pillows, box squats to like a tote or something, fill a walker with weights, kind of whatever things you can do creatively. There are tons of things you can do in the home, even if you don't have any specific equipment for it.
Jonathan Mike, were you able to see him last week at all? He was one of our guests.
No.
Thursday. He's got some great stuff right now just on milk jugs full of water and having some of them full and then some of them like halfway. So you have
for different weights.
Shifting load. Yeah. It was really cool. We put up another one this morning and I'm like, people are getting creative. It's good stuff.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah. I know it's kind of funny because we're just all in the same situation. So it's not just a certain amount of people that are at home. It's all of us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just another consideration to not only maximize the efficiency and to maximize the benefits of exercise, adding combination movements. So especially when equipment's limited, you can not only maximize the strengthening benefit, but you can also add in challenging coordination and cognition, especially for some of our older adults. So here's just a couple examples of these. So you're just basically combining a couple different movements, and you might already be doing some of these, but just putting a little bit more thought and doing it with a little bit more purpose of creating these combination movements. So this one, just burpees, but this is one of the modifications if you are treating some of the older adult population, but having them jump. Sometimes they're very hesitant to try that, but these people are all between about 70 and 80, but they are all independent. So like this one, a sumo deadlift high pull with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. It's just good for deadlifting, for the hip strengthening, but then also adding in the arm component as well. And then the renegade row is just another form of a plank, but you can add in the arm component and a little bit more challenge with the core strengthening just by lifting one weight up and then the other.
Nice. Now on your burpee video, are you like in a retirement facility with these folks? Is that
so
where
this
you get
was from, yes.
Now, this is awesome. Like this is the stuff that I love to see.
Yes.
Not that your other stuff isn't, but I love to see. I think there's so much more to this when people see us doing it and they're like, well, of course you can do it. Are you actually going to do that with somebody that's 90 and you got 10 of them and they're all doing it?
Right. And that's
actually assume you're older, you can't do anything that's dynamic.
Exactly.
Yep,
so I have tons of, I actually integrated a CrossFit style functional fitness class and did a pilot with this group of people. And there was probably about 20-ish people that were kind of pretty consistent with coming, and they absolutely loved it. All the like kind of competition type things. And so I have actually a full packet on that if anybody is interested in, because I did an in-service on it, trying to integrate functional fitness into a group like this. Definitely let me know about that.
Nice.
So the third one is circuit training. So when we have limited amounts of weights or we're limited in our just equipment in general, in order to make things more difficult to actually make gains, we have to make things hard with the equipment that we have. So we can use supersets. We can use high intensity interval training. We can use a continuous amount of time. We have to find ways that we are hitting that appropriate intensity, even though we might only have sets of 2s or, soup cans to use. So I did write a blog post that I will attach on the information page for this on my website. But if we kind of think about like a circuit training, for example, so if we set together, 3 to 4 exercises and have them run through, do as many reps as you can, that sort of thing. I typically tend to pull from 3 sets of columns as far as the types of exercises, especially when you're working with older adults. So if you're looking at functional strength, so picking one of these that maybe they're struggling with the most, and then throwing in a balance exercise. That doesn't necessarily need to be low level balance. If you have higher level clients, you can do agility ladders. You can do, picking up different objects. I had people like picking up different objects and running to set them down across the room and come back, sort of thing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be lower level. And then power, like we were talking about. So you're adding speed to the strength movement. So any sort of jumping, but even if they can't jump, there's lots of different options that you can choose. And so I kind of choose, so we're kind of hitting all 3 of these components in each, if you were to set up a circuit type training where they're doing set exercise for 45 seconds to a minute, take about 30 seconds to a minute of rest, and then continue. So I just really wanted to give some examples on how to do this, but just make sure that we're making these exercises hard enough still, because we can't just do 10 reps of this and if we only have limited amounts of weight. So we want to make sure that it's challenging. And so usually setting a max reps for time tends to be one of the easier ways to ensure that you're hitting that appropriate intensity.
I'd love to see all the complexes you have in here and the strongman components, and you see all these different pieces. That it's nice to, as another professional that embraces a style of training, like it's really nice to see that someone else is teaching this and doing this. And I know a lot of the people, I recognize so many of our names that are on here with us. There's influencers all through our industry that are encouraging and coaching and teaching these types of movements, but not for our demographic, right? So we're learning about a lot of these different bits, and we learn about how to progress them, and we learn about all the benefits of it. But they're demoing it with 30 and 40-year-olds, and why would it not be beneficial for our older pops to incorporate and do these same? Just we have to modify and kind of taper them to their ability levels. It really brings knowing your background to where you come from, with your education and for Jaros and everything else. Like, it's just really great to see these styles of training be encouraged and coached elsewhere. So
yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you for,
yeah. Don't limit yourself to a certain amount of exercises just because you're scared to try them. I mean, if they don't go well, then they don't go well. I mean, obviously we want to keep our patients safe and our clients safe, but a lot of the times, even in that past video, I told them, I demonstrated how to do a burpee and told them, they're like, well, I haven't jumped in 10 years, but then all of them are doing it. So it's just, don't let them kind of talk you out of it either. I mean, unless it's like pain or some other serious issue, but definitely don't contain yourself to just a few exercises. Definitely try to experiment a little bit with some of these other sections to make sure that, you're kind of hitting all the points that you need to get them the most bang for their buck.
Nice.
And then number 4, so I kind of touched on this already, but tracking intensity. So how do we know that these exercises we're doing are difficult for them? Maybe especially if you're doing like a virtual thing where you can't necessarily see how they're moving totally, or you can't see the detailed facial movements or whatever. You can't hear them being short of breath. So one of the things that I typically use is just the rating of perceived exertion scale 0 to 10. There is the Borg scale that is 6 to 20, but I found that sometimes that's kind of hard to conceptualize. So using the 0 to 10 is a lot easier. especially if you can show them the actual scale versus saying, okay, rate this 0 to 10, because then they can see like is this is this very hard? Is this moderate? Is this light? And it kind of gives you a description underneath so they can kind of visually see that. Because we want to make sure, especially when you're doing an exercise or you're doing kind of a circuit training, you want to make sure that you're in that about 6 to 8. Now, that's kind of depending on your client too. It could be that 5 to 6 range as well if you have like some chronic health conditions or something that you're factoring in. So you want to just get a feel of how hard they think things are. So, and then obviously if you're in person, you can more observe for shortness of breath. And so you can kind of see how and use your own observation to kind of maybe predict where they are on that scale. So I have an example of something. So say I did a circuit with one of my clients I had. So this was a 94-year-old patient. We were just working on balance, generalized weakness. So I set up these 3 stations: forward step ups, bending down to pick up a cone and walking it across the room, and then just a static balance. So she goes through these, and then I ask her, okay, so how would you rate this 0 to 10? And so she says about a 4. Well, that's not really to the 6-ish. And obviously this is subjective. So that's a 4 for her, which probably isn't very hard. So then you step it up a little bit. So then we're doing lateral step ups. Then we're doing bending down and picking up weights instead of just regular objects. And then you're doing static balance on a foam. So now she says the RP is about 5 to 6. So then we take it maybe a little bit step further. She still is having correct form and all of those things. We're taking everything into account, vitals and everything are okay. So then maybe we step it up again. She says, oh, that still is pretty doable. So then we do this last one where we're doing, lateral step ups, but just with one hand, bending down and squatting to pick up 2 weights. So you want to just make sure that you are tracking this intensity, making sure that these are challenging. Because if you just had this person go through this station up here, these 3 stations, she might have not gotten the most benefit out of this session versus if she was then doing these 3 stations all the way through. Mm-hmm. So you just want to make sure that you are adapting your training sessions based on how the patient is responding. Maybe she's not having a good day and maybe we stick with these 3. But if she's, doing great today, not having a lot of pain or anything, then, let's take advantage of that.
So sorry to interrupt you, but post-workout, are you then getting some type of report from them to say 12 hours later, 24 hours later, something like that, to see the next time you do this, where can we kind of start at, knowing that let's say you did 3 rounds of the top one and she's like, I feel nothing. Next time you could just start at your second series, right?
Yes. So I always ask them, because typically we see patients about 2 times a week. So when I was seeing patients, I would always say, try to take some sort of note, either just write down something, especially if there's some memory issues, write down something at night or the next morning on if you have soreness, on, how you're feeling. And if they say, they don't remember, then odds are it's probably nothing that was significant. So, and sometimes, they do have a lot of soreness. And so then maybe we back it down a little bit, but that only happens in like 1 or 2 very low situations. So I think that definitely tracking that, like you said, about 12 hours, or asking them how they feel that night or, that next morning.
Excellent. Yeah, we get that 24-hour mark. Usually they're feeling something at that point is what I kind of notice. And as we'll go, 5, 6, 7 workouts in a row, I'll kind of taper back from that because I'm starting to get a feel from them now, what they're capable of doing, what is kind of a comfortable zone for me to start them with every day. And then we'll have these little like challenge workout kind of pieces where today's going to be noticeably different. And as long as, like you were saying, you kind of Q&A, you question, you watch their body language, like, okay, we can push today, we can go for it. That's the plan. And then I'll go back. Cause I find it, a lot of my clients are like, I'm fine. You don't have to keep texting me. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm trying to get the information, right? Like you put on a
Exactly.
great game face. I want to know,
Yeah.
if we're pushing or not. And so,
Right.
I'll text and then I'll text. And then if they don't, then they'll stop texting me back. And then I'll call and I'll be like, you got it. And they're like, okay. So, you get these opportunities to pull this information. And after, a month of training somebody, I feel like I got a pretty good idea of what's, going to be too hard, too easy, just right, good challenge days. And then you're not having to annoy them so much with seeking the information back, but you're continually, challenging them.
Absolutely.
Is it your experience that when you do give them one of those kind of challenge style workouts, they let you know the next day or so, like, oh, this got me and my legs were really like, will they kind of give you that feedback right away?
Yes. Sometimes, you have to ask for it, but yes, a lot of the times they're like, wow, I was really feeling that, the next morning, and I always educate people too, because that's a good point, is that some people really perceive that as like not pain, new pain that's not associated with just exercise soreness, and especially a lot of older people, if they haven't really had a lot of experience with exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I really, really try to hit home after, especially hitting these appropriate intensities, is that hopefully there's soreness, and I tell them that soreness is actually a good thing, and that's your muscles breaking down, and then you have to repair them, and they repair stronger. And so educating people educating people that, to drink water and all of those things. But definitely just educating them that it's normal to be a little sore. Cause I've had some people that have said like, oh, I'm just having so much pain, and then they don't end up coming because they're not used to this pain. And I say it's not supposed to be like significant, and it's not supposed to limit you, from doing things, but you might notice some soreness. And some people have a misconception
I bet there's a bit of
that.
arthritic component that comes to that too with people.
Yes.
Getting through that grace period and such, as we've kind of talked about. One of my clients comes to mind that's funny. Her grandson is on here watching right now. Betty, our client, is 93 years old, and just I can't get her to work hard. Like, she pushes herself and challenges, and every time she's like, yeah, it was okay. Like, it's never like, man, that was rough. And so she's just a stud. Like, I can't, I'm sitting there going like, well, I don't want to load her up too much. I don't want to hurt her shoulders, and I want to do this. And so I'm thinking like, this should be a decent challenge. And the next time I see her, she's like, I'm fine. It was fine. What's next?
Exactly.
And the population can work really hard. I'm waiting for the day where she's like, that was too much. And Marcus, maybe you can help me with that, buddy.
Yeah. So just the key takeaway point here, because especially with older adults, and Rob, you're kind of the outlier here, just because you are loading these patients and you are taking them to that appropriate intensity. A lot of the times when people are working with these clients, we're not doing it at appropriate intensity. We're using 1 to 2 pound weights. So this is mainly just saying to get to that appropriate intensity, and then finding what's difficult for them. So it should be hard.
The first conversation you and I had was on that post I put up about common practice, about how our industry assumes this is how you're supposed to train old people. They got to sit down, they can't press their arms over their head, they got to lift little weights. You play catch with balloons, and like literally made my hair fall out. This is just like, I don't know where this all came from. I can't trace it back to like some doctor that said, when you're 55, you got to train like this now, like it just drives me nuts that we think this. And it's so present in, I've told this story before. I had a lady that came into our gym, and she goes, I heard this was an older adult training facility. And I said, yeah. And she goes, where are all the machines? Where are all the chairs? I said, well, I don't use them.
Balloons in the back.
Yeah, she starts like waving her finger, and she starts backing away like, this is the wrong thing. And I said, well, wait. What do you do? And she goes, well, I'm retiring. And I said, well, what did you do? And she goes, I'm 70 and I used to be a farmer. And I'm like, did you do a lot of sitting down while farming? Like, little barrels of hay, 2 pound, like, what are we talking about? She's like, no, I work hard. And
the farmers are where it's at.
Yeah, and that's why you're a badass at 70 right now. Like, why would you shift back?
And that's the thing
Yes.
that people think and so that's why trying to change the picture of that. And, when I did a Google search for a webinar I did the other day, and it's like strength training for older adults, and the amount of pink and seafoam green 1-pound dumbbells in all of the stock images and all of just the images in general, it just like, it blows my mind. And so definitely if you're training older adults, and I know Rob, you do a really good job with this, definitely take videos, take pictures of them actually doing these things, so you can hopefully empower other people at that age. Because like Rob was saying earlier, when we actually show these people that you can do these things, then that helps kind of push through that stereotype a little bit more. So I always try to take as many videos as I can, especially when they're doing maybe something that's off of the stereotypical exercise program.
And I love it too, to highlight older people that the rest of our industry would look at as frail, elderly, etc. And they're doing hex bar deadlifts, or they're doing
exactly, yes,
handball slams, and it's like, that to me, I see a lot of their friends, their circle, get very inspired by that, because
exactly.
It's like,
then they're
I've
like,
got,
oh, well, she's doing this, I can do it too.
yeah, I've got 60 clients that are over the age of 60. They're not all former Olympians, right? Like, they're just regular people. They're regular people who learn how to do this. It's
exactly
system, just like you're showing here, how we can make that happen. So I'll quit interrupting.
yes. Oh, no, that's okay.
Like my favorite topic. Like,
I know. Keep going.
I
think this is the last one anyways. So another thing is just tracking progress. So even if you just think about yourself, so are you motivated when you go to the gym to beat your 1 rep max? Or are you motivated to beat the time from your previous workout? Are you motivated to run maybe faster than you did last week? So we are all motivated by this. So why aren't older adults motivated by this? Why aren't we tracking this and helping them do that? So especially when we're doing home workouts, because to be honest, when we do home workouts, sometimes we need all the motivation we can get, because you're, typically at your home alone or just with one other person. And it's kind of easy to get into a funk when you're at home. So if you start tracking whatever the patient's goal is, so if maybe their goal is to, I don't know, go up the stairs or without pain, or be able to stand up enough from a chair easier, whatever that is, go hiking, find out what that is and figure out how you can measure that. So say they want to improve their leg strength so they can go on vacation with their grandkids when this is all over. So one thing, the 2 tests I typically use, one is the 30-second sit to stand test. So meaning you give someone 30 seconds and they stand up and down as many times as they can.
I love that one.
Yes. Yeah. So easy to do. And you don't even need to be there to have them do it. And then there's age ranges and normative values. But these are just taken with a grain. I always tell people, take these with a grain of salt, because they might be in a different situation than these people are. So if someone's maybe 70 and they only get 8, then 14, it may be attainable, it may not be, but we want to improve for you. So you want to improve by 3 to 5 repetitions. So this is one you can test at the beginning and you can test at the end. Say, okay, we're going to do this test now, we're going to retest it, and hopefully you do better the second time. If someone's goal is, say, endurance, walking longer distances, being able to walk in the mall, or being able to walk down the beach where they live, or whatever it may be, you can do the main other one I do is the 2-minute step test. So it's just alternating marching for 2 minutes. Sometimes people don't even make it the full 2 minutes, and that's fine. And you count every other rep. So if it's right, left, that's 1, 2, 3, or you can count all of them and just divide by 2. But again, there's normative values for everyone. And then that way you can objectively see what they're doing and how they're improving. You can show them with numbers that they are improving. Now, I mean, also if you are using weights and things, you can do, maybe a 7-rep max or something like that. You can do a little bit more, but these are just 2 super easy tests to do, and you don't need any equipment. You just need a chair and So definitely something to show, okay, when we started, you could only do 3 sit to stands and now you're doing 8, or, whatever it may be, or if they can stand up now without their hands and they needed their hands initially. So definitely something just to keep in your mind. It's just a small, a couple of tests just to show progress to them. Because if they see that they're making progress, then that motivates them even more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it.
So just simple things to do. These are more physical therapy related, but a lot of times they definitely carry over into personal training and things like that. Mm-hmm. So just think about what they want to do and then try to think about how you can measure that. Okay, so this is just all of my contact information. I'm on all social media platforms. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. Here's my email. If you have any questions, like I said, I also have that functional group exercise packet that I can send you. And then I do have a Facebook group. So it's open to all treating clinicians, trainers, and also open to anyone 50 and over. There's really no age limit on it, but just anyone who wants to continue to move well as they age well, or as they age.
Well, I have a few questions for you.
Yes,
if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And then if anyone else, if you have questions, I know we had, so in this day and age of online education right now, there's like 4 other webinars all going on right now. So Holly was very sweet. And I don't know if you saw her message. She goes, I really wanted to see this, but I know it's on demand. So she's going to another one they're not giving demand to, but she wanted to come on and leave you that note real quick. So
Okay.
she'll be watching the video afterwards. But anyone else, you have questions, please
I just said it.
fire away now. So my first question, I kind of know the answer to this already because of what we just talked about, but I'd like to hear you kind of elaborate on some other things. So we had to just kind of set the scene for the question. I had a current client who just like 2 weeks ago said, my niece would like to start your program. And so she calls, we start to talk, and she goes, so wait, you're saying that I have to buy equipment? And I said, yeah, it's a resistance training program. And she goes, can't I just train with my body weight? And I said, well, you're used to moving your body weight, right? And she goes, well, I don't know if I'm ready to invest in this and that. And so we kind of put together like a $60 package that, and I think you and I kind of mentioned this too, that Perform Better, Spry, Power Systems, they're all making custom packages for people now. It's $57 and it's got some bands and little ones and big ones and a door anchor. And I can do a lot with that, right? But we have to have some type of external resistance. Knowing that you support that, any other suggestions for equipment or protocols? I know we can use cans and water jugs and that kind of thing, but do you feel like it is appropriate to, to kind of incorporate or even require a certain amount of load or bands or packages or whatever, something along those lines that people could, utilize? Because I saw some of the comments about, oh, you could use plates for sliders and that kind of stuff. If this is going to be the way it is and you're an in-home trainer, like what's your start package? What's the thing that you want everybody to have?
So I would say at least one set of dumbbells. Probably it depends on who you're seeing. Like if you're seeing people that are, really high level, but I would say starting just having a set of probably 5 to 10 pounds. I had that weighted ball. It was 6 pounds. And I think I got it for like $8 or something, which that you can surprisingly do quite a bit. I do a lot of just lunges and even balance and those tosses and things. So I would say probably a set of dumbbells, maybe a weighted ball if you can find one, that's pretty cheap. Since I've been at home training with kettlebells only, I have found so many things you can do with a kettlebell. So I actually bought a 15-pound one that I was going to start using for in-home training, and have been doing quite a few videos with them. So I would say a dumbbell set, just a lighter set, because you can still do some damage with some lighter weights. A weighted ball, a kettlebell, just one 15-poundish one. And then just a set or two of bands. I mean, you don't need the entire necessarily set. But if you just want to get like one single one, there's lots of things you can do, just a moderate resistance. because that way you can superset the bands and the weights and things like that. So if you just have like one of each of those things, you can do quite a bit as far as switching up the resistance and going from the medicine ball to just a set of weights. So I would say just those 4 items. And then, I mean, you can pretty well get started, and then they can kind of adapt as they need to. If your weights are getting too light, then maybe they could purchase some heavier ones, that sort of thing. But just getting someone started, I think that those things are probably the best way to go. Yeah. Now, obviously you don't need all of them, but I would recommend, definitely resistance of some sort.
Yeah. The future for in-home training, just to kind of give you another little backstory on that, it was always a concern of mine when you come into someone else's house and use their equipment, because legally there is a liability component to us having to check all of their equipment and use all their stuff. And it sounds like there's going to be a new opportunity for personal training in home with this progress going forward, where a lot of people don't necessarily want to do online training, but would feel comfortable bringing one person into their house to train. So having good high quality equipment, stuff that's going to last, things that you can bring in and out of people's homes to help them. Any suggestions for those that might be kind of pursuing this as a future potential business stream for them? We've heard many individuals saying, I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable coming back to the gym at all. And we've also seen these, I'm sure you've been tagged a million times in the videos of all the home fails with the equipment and the bands smacking them and the doors coming off.
Yes.
So knowing that this could be a very good revenue opportunity, but also a good chance to, kind of extend our abilities to go out and help people. Suggestions, strategies, philosophies, business, marketing, insurance, any ideas or suggestions for people pursuing this moving forward?
So if you're pursuing this, I would stick with those 4 things that I just said. Because if you can show someone that they can use dumbbells, or they can use a kettlebell, or they can use all of these equipment, and you show them how to use the different things, then I would always recommend my patients to invest in themselves. Because a lot of the times, if they want more weights, or, if they know that they can use dumbbells and you've showed them lots of different exercises they can do, then now they understand and hopefully can hop on the bandwagon of, oh, these are actually really beneficial for me. And then they can get like their own set. Because obviously for us, I mean, it's a pretty good investment, especially you're going to be carrying all this stuff around and keeping it all in your car. And so you don't necessarily need to go out and buy like a full set of dumbbells or a full set of kettlebells. If you can show people that they can just use this equipment at first, then I would suggest some sort of maybe put some sort of package together like you have, or show them stuff that you recommend. And that, because fitness is a lifelong thing, it's not something you do for 4 weeks and then you're never going to touch this stuff again. Hopefully it's something that they will continue to do. So if they find they like a kettlebell better, well, then they can, purchase 1 or 2 kettlebells. So I would, because especially a lot of older people are hesitant to some things. And if you can just show them with your just couple pieces of equipment, the options you can do. And then I would honestly recommend them just investing in 1 or 2 pieces of equipment that they like, instead of you having to carry around all of this equipment.
Well, that gives you 2 opportunities now to come in and train them with your feature equipment and also theirs, but also kind of prescribe some homework or some program design components that they could do
exactly
twice a week with you, and then twice a week on their own, and then kind of continue to build their library of equipment and exercises. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I would just recommend, because they do have to be willing to invest in themselves too, which I think is a huge component. And especially being at home. I mean, it's not like you can just go to a gym and you have all this equipment available. You have to actually invest in yourself, in order to do that.
Yeah. I think that's a good, I think that's a good message to kind of take away from all of this whole series, is that, a treadmill usually ends up with clothes hanging on it, right?
Exactly.
And you can only kind of walk and run or skip on it. And how functional is that going to be when you can just go outside and do that?
Exactly.
Or, investing in some of these dumbbells and bands and some of this, I don't think it's above and beyond or out of the question to ask people to do that, to be able to continue to invest in their their continued health and effort into getting, if they're believing in the idea of resistance training, that means you're doing your job right. And I feel like
Exactly.
they should be good with that. Yeah, that's, a time right now, like the last 4 weeks, I've become an exercise equipment consultant, like teaching my clients. They're like, oh, I
Yes.
want to do this or that. So we kind of put that out there in a tutorial and an email to our clients. If you're going to buy stuff, text me and I will let you know. I know, we have our little bundle of all the bands. And then we also had 2 sets of dumbbells, and that's all we said. And under it said, text me for your weights. And
Yeah.
so, I'll get Jan will text and be like, what do I need? And I say, you need 2.5s and 12.5s, because I need something that she can do shoulder raises with, shoulder slides, reverse curls, variations like that, but also something that she could row. She could do a goblet squat
Exactly.
with. She could do an RDL with. Yeah. We kind of
Absolutely.
found that like medium light and then kind of like medium heavy, somewhere in there. But those 2 sets and the bands, that opens up so much for me programming,
And
where it's a
exactly. And
body
it's not
weight
that
in one.
expensive either.
Exactly. Yeah. We're talking,
You're
maybe
not asking
$100
right. You're not asking
for
someone to
shipping and
pay
all.
like a $500 dumbbell set. I mean, it's $100 and hopefully you can use it, for the, to keep your fitness long term.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
yeah.
And let's go into some questions here. I got saw a couple that popped up here. How often are you testing? Annie would like to know. So I think she's talking about your sit to stand test, your step up. And then I also wanted to know if you have an upper body test that you're doing with your clients too, but how often are you doing that?
So it depends on how long you're training for, but like if it's just a client that you're just going to keep continuing to see, I would use your judgment. And if you think they will do better, then you can retest. So if they have been showing that if they've been able to increase some of the reps and some of the weights with like the squats or the lunges, or you can sense that their legs are getting stronger because you've been able to increase that intensity, you can retest. I mean, I try to retest about once every 4 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks, depending on maybe how often you're seeing them, but you would hope to see some sort of change by about that 3 to 4 week mark. Because you don't want to test it too often and have them only, increase by 1 repetition or something. That is some sort of improvement, but that might be seen a little bit as discouraging to people. So you want to do it where you can kind of see a larger, 2, 3, 5 repetition increase. So you want to give it at least 3 to 4 weeks to see those increases. And then you can kind of keep doing it every 3 to 4 weeks. And then you can add, if they're starting to kind of max out that test, then you can change it to something else. You can have them do it with a weight instead and see how many they can do from there. So I would, keep it 3-4 weeks probably.
Neuromuscularly, you're looking at, especially for someone who's completely untrained, they're starting fresh, you're going to see results in 2 weeks or 3 weeks with this. So I think that's a great idea. A
Exactly.
monthly test for a couple of series and such. Upper body wise, did you have any suggestions on upper body test?
As far as upper body one from a physical therapy standpoint, there's not necessarily any that we particularly use. I know some people use like the bicep curl one. For me, quite honestly, I might use like a modified push-up, maybe a max in 30 seconds, or depending on, kind of what their functional capacities are. You could do like a shoulder press if they don't have any shoulder arthritis or anything. Just kind of depending on where you maybe see their weaknesses are, but using just those larger global movements. So either a shoulder press or a push-up, or I don't know if I would use the bicep curl one necessarily. I would maybe want something that's a little bit more global. But I know some people do use those in like fitness screens and things like that. But I would probably do something like a push-up or a shoulder press.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to test their rowing ability too. I do a
Yeah,
horizontal band
that's
row.
great. Yeah.
We'll anchor to a set, and then we have a section in the gym that is taped back lines for every 3 inches. And so I'll have them stand at the 3-foot line and row. And the next time we'll test, we'll try to beat that, or we'll go to the 3.5-foot line, row the same band and see if we can overcome that. Because then we're showing not only are they achieving more repetition, but we know we've got a 6th grader band resistance, right? So
Yeah.
can't
Okay.
exactly put a number on that and say like, oh, you did 30 pounds before for 20 reps and now it's 32 and a half. Like, but I can say you've
But
increased
you're
by
getting
6.
better. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. I mean, that's, it can be seen as like, oh yeah, that's 6 inches of improvement, but it can also be like, what does that transfer to, for the people that want that hard number.
right,
But
right. And
the other piece that I saw you do was with your chest pass, right? Where they were throwing the
mhm.
ball from there. We will measure that as well and do
Okay.
upper body power output. And so I'll have
Perfect.
them coming from the world of a thrower, and one of my former track coaches is on here. So I think every time she's like, you always have to resolve everything back to
Hey,
throwing.
that's all right. That you
I
know
love
that
throwing stuff.
stuff.
So yeah, we'll do that same sit to stand and have them come up and throw it. And max
Hmm.
distance, we'll lay out the tape measure.
And that's a great idea too.
Gives
Yeah.
you a power output component too for it.
There's so many things you can do, as long as you just pick a couple and show them progress. And for the rowing one, are you counting reps and resistance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I will track the tension of band. We are like a band friendly gym. I've got 20 of every color and every resistance that we have in there. So I can literally go, from double tension, I can go from 10 up to 100 pounds by
Okay.
tens based on my bands. So I can have, 3 or 4 different bands attached. And depending on the client, we'll start with orange. And if they can do 30 and 30 seconds, we're doing 1 per second. I know it's way too light. I'm going
Right.
to want somewhere in that like 1.5 to 2 to 1 rep tempo. So I'm going to
Okay.
find them some kind of tension with like the Perform Better bands. It's black or yellow, somewhere in between there. We do a supinated grip. So that's keeping us more externally rotated in the shoulders or any
Hmm.
shoulder impingement, stuff like that. We're able to avoid those and just let them rep out. I'll put them in a staggered stance, and whatever that front foot is anchored to, that's our testing point. So we're
Okay.
at 36 inches, and how many did you get? We can either stay there or we can up the band, stay there, or I can back up with the previous band and see if you can break your record from there. And
Okay.
we'll do that every 4 weeks, something like that to see how it
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, there are tons of ways, especially if you have, certain equipment that you use more than others, then,
Mhm.
I mean, there are lots of different ways you can adapt that too.
Sensitivity, like you were saying. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
like the banded sit to stands. I really like that you do
yeah,
those. So that could
I
be a
love
way
those.
to increase the difficulty of the test itself. So as long as you're testing and retesting the same thing, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just as long as you keep it consistent.
Agreed. So Beth and Heidi both would like to know some marketing ideas, some social media. Are you finding that with the older populations? Are you reaching them with your social media marketing, and how are you kind of growing your business from that?
Yes. So there are way more older people on like Instagram than you would think,
Hmm.
especially in that like 50 to 60, 70 even. There's actually a woman called Train with Joan who's 70 and she's absolutely killing it. So yes, I have been reaching, especially like the higher level ones, the ones that are into powerlifting. I've met quite a few people that are in masters powerlifting, and just a lot of people just with general. They have just general accounts and they are just looking to help with their arthritis and things. So I have been able to pull some of those people from Instagram into my Facebook group.
Hmm.
Facebook has a little bit larger of a reach just because there's more, it's a little bit more like family oriented. People want to be on it to see what their grandkids and things are doing. So I've been able to reach quite a few people that way. A lot of times it's just like parents and grandparents of people I may know. So what I've been doing is just consistently sharing information. Like last night I had a YouTube video and I had been sharing them consistently. And then someone commented on it and was like, oh, grandma, this is what I was talking about. Check out her thing on the phone or something. So you can actually reach those people, especially the children or the grandchildren of their parents, grandparents. That's been a big part of mine too. It's obviously a little bit slower than if I was reaching out to like CrossFit athletes that are 18 to 30, but it definitely still is out there, even if your reach isn't exactly everyone that's 60 and up. Getting those children, getting those like healthcare professionals, personal trainers, so you can get those referrals. But I have been able to reach out. The biggest thing is just consistency, consistently posting videos, consistently just getting your name out there and attaching your name to the education that you're providing to help kind of connect people to that.
I agree. Delivering content, especially in a phase like this is, we got into like this, this heavy workload for about 6 months where I wasn't able to produce a whole lot of like free content to put out on YouTube and all this. And now in the last 5 weeks, we've been putting out a ton, and just saw numbers. Now I know it's swayed it a little bit because everybody's sitting at home looking for stuff to be entertained with or whatnot. But the more content that you put out, you see these, individuals that are able to, put up, hundreds of thousands of likes and such that come through, just putting out more content and quality content and sharing your education, your whys and hows behind what you're putting out. And you do a great job with that. I really enjoy your videos and your explanations, and you're using things from the house and really giving good application. The one with the, I think it was a tissue box or a delivery box on the stairs, how you were working on people's gait, and their ability to be able to get up and over the steps so they're not catching their toe and falling, those kinds of pieces. Like, it's just, from a rudimentary level of maintaining our ADLs, right, of keeping our people functional like that, it's got to be led by education. And you do a very good job of that. So I really enjoy your social media. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thank you. And if anyone needs help just with social media in general, just let me know with designing or anything, presentations. I can definitely help with that too. But the biggest thing is just empowering other people to, show the more videos you can have of actual people. Love seeing old people working out. The highest engagement I get is with I just reposted a woman who was back squatting, and that got like crazy amounts of views. And so people love seeing older people actually doing, hard workouts, actually, doing those things. So any sort of actual video content you can get of your patients, your clients, even your parents or your grandparents or anyone doing things, the better.
I had a client of mine in her early 50s, got into powerlifting, and it was very strong. Her name's Deirdre Deeds, and she's fantastic. We go to this competition. It's her first one ever. And she pulls like 220, 100 kilos for her first deadlift. And she's pumped. And then the master's group is up after her. And this lady's 75 years old and pulls like 375.
Oh my God.
Off the ground. And I go to her coach and I'm like, what is the deal? And he goes, don't let her fool you. Like, she's been a power lifter her whole life. She used to have like a 550, when she was in her 40s and her 50s. She goes, all she likes to do is deadlift. And so I post a video of that and I'm like, check this 75-year-old out pulling nearly 400 pounds, and boom. Like, it just went.
It's like, I don't know what it is. Like, that burpee video got so much engagement. And so just anything you can do that's just outside of the norm of what people are typically expecting, then I think that is going to get you the most engagement.
Agreed. And we're breaking barriers too with that.
Exactly.
We definitely need to continue to lead the way with educating and showing that the older population can and should still be doing this.
Exactly.
But it's got to be done well, a way we're not hurting people or going backwards, and that feeds that negative stereotype. So
exactly.
Alyssa, thank you very much for being on here. I really appreciate it.
I do have one more thing.
Yes.
So I have on my website, if you go to movewellagewellpt.com/in-home, that's where you're going to find the slides. This is a page right here. I also posted a functional exercise handout that has exercises and video examples, more exercise ideas on my YouTube channel. And then here's the blog I wrote about resistance bands and dumbbells, how you can make things harder with the limited equipment that you have. So it's just movewellagewellpt.com/in-home, and you can find all that information there.
Nice. And I am, if you could send me these, or I guess I could download them there. We're going to do a big Dropbox at the end of the month here.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
all the people we've had on here, I'm just going to send all their stuff. I was going to do it this last weekend, and then we just signed up 4 more speakers.
I saw that.
Yeah, well, 2 of them were just like, hey, if you ever want me to do something, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Now's the time.
Yeah, we got Rick Howard coming on tomorrow to do a cradle to grave talk. He and
I did see that. Okay. Yeah.
he and I did one in Boise together. It was a hands-on, so he's going to come on and do a
nice.
Q&A. And then Christian Thompson's coming on Thursday to do some balanced supersets with me. And then we confirmed Dan John's going to come on Monday. And
no way. All
right. Chat with him. So it's been pretty cool. We've been just
that's
more
awesome.
opportunities and to have more people like you on here to share what you do. And we really appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And make sure you check out her social medias. You'll love her posts. She's got a new book that she just put out that's available.
That's on there too.
Yeah, there you go, right there. Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, my friend. You take care.
All right. Thanks, guys. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Hold on.